Right, we're going live. Seems to be connected up. Good afternoon. We are live in Knitting Across the Pennines. It is Sunday the 15th of November, she says, quickly checking the laptop.
It is, yeah.
How are you today?
All good here. How about everyone else? See if everyone else is all right. Have we got anyone with us this afternoon? We've got beverage. Have you got a beverage? I forgot to check because you're on night now.
A cup of tea.
Oh, that's all right then.
And it's relatively fresh. It's not.
I have my favourite mug, huge cup of tea. More to hold on to rather than anything, to be perfectly fair.
Right.
You know, when you've got cold hands, you just want to hold on to your nice hot cup of tea.
Yeah, I can have known that feeling for years, but then when I hit menopause, it doesn't happen very much.
Yeah, that's a whole different kettle of fish, that, isn't it? Huh?
Isn't it just?
Oh my goodness.
So I've sent a revised link out, which hopefully Helen's got, so we get through the sort of introductions and chat. And
yeah.
So what's everybody's beverage today? What have you got? Have you got knitting in your hands? Are you doing a bit of crochet? Are you having your breakfast and a cup of coffee ready to start your day if you're over on the opposite side of the pond? What are you up to?
On this gorgeous Sunday. So show us yours. I can see you've got the pointy sticks of doom. I really don't like.
Yeah, I've got pointy sticks of doom. It's my bamboo DPNs. I can use the metal ones, but they're just slippery little suckers, and you can't trust them.
I don't trust DPNs anyway.
It's the start of a cuff of some mittens, and I'm going to fold over the cuff once it's long enough and just join it on the inside.
Very nice. Oh, hello.
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 Oh, the compassionate
off. Nice link.
Oh, you didn't choose a name.
The compassionate ox. I like that.
So for anybody that's been chatting to Helen Gipson in the group, this is the lady in the flesh, so to speak. So welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hello. I've got some tabs open with your cable dials throw and textured landscapes throw. So we were going to chat about those today. Possibly not on the slant that you suggested last night. Maybe.
I didn't Zoom last night. I was too tired. I went to bed, I'm afraid. So I missed all the fun.
Helen was singing again.
Are you going to sing the outro song today?
Oh, I don't know. I don't trust that Loraine for cutting me off.
Oh.
Emma doesn't either. Yeah, when my battery on the mouse went the other week, and I was pressing like turn it off, and you can see Emma getting slightly more anxious as time went on, thinking, "I'm actually going to have to sing now." Not as anxious as everyone else was, ready to stampede, but you know,
their poor ears. And Arthur, he was panicking over it.
So, Helen, how long have you been designing now?
I think I started publishing in 2013 or 2014. But before that, I just made my own stuff up and never even occurred to me to write up patterns until I got on Ravelry.
So everyone was doing it and you thought, I can do that.
Well, it's a bit scary when you very first do your first pattern or two. You suddenly think, oh my God, other people are going to be looking at what I've done.
Yeah, and judging you.
Yes.
I'm sure they're not, though.
They're not, but that's what you think. When you first start, definitely. Yes. Someone's going to read this. What are they going to think?
are they going to tell everybody, oh, I've got this pattern and it's absolutely awful?
What was your first pattern?
I think it was probably my rainbow blanket that I actually was the first one I think I actually put on for a couple of socks before that were free when I first did them. And then I revised them sort of when I was more serious. I got them back up to what I think is a better standard, and then actually sold them after that.
Yeah. Cool. And what's your favourite thing to design?
Well, I like doing sweaters. Unfortunately, they're not necessarily the most cost-effective thing to design, but I do like doing sweaters. That was always what I used to knit when I was just knitting for fun. I just ramped out sweaters after sweaters after sweaters. So it is my first love, I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely a garment girl when it comes to my prepared makes. I mean, I'll be inspired for smaller things and accessories because I think, oh, I need a cowl and I want it in that colour.
Yeah.
And I'll rattle something off. But most of the time when I look at yarn, I'm thinking sweater, cardigan.
Yes, every time I buy yarn, it's got to be, I want to get enough just in case I want to make a sweater from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing of, and an extra couple of skeins just in case.
Well, you might want a hat out of it. Or you might want a pair of mitts or something.
Well, it's the best swatch, to be honest, is a hat.
Yeah.
It's
definitely.
A goodly size fabric.
I was just going to ask Helen if she's wearing one of her jumpers there. That looks like a...
It's the one that's currently being tested. So it's my wheat fields one.
And that's a yoke.
It's a yoke sweater, yes. I'll hide my hair from it.
Oh, that was
There's a bit of a delay on this, which is quite fun.
You wait until you see yourself on Facebook.
That one's got pockets as well, hasn't it?
It has. I have to stand up to show.
Oh, wow. I like that. What's it knitted in?
It's double knitting. It was, I think it was Miss Babs Yowza double knitting. So it's merino, so it's really nice and soft.
It's a beautiful colour.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Is it superwash or?
I think it is. I'd have to check that.
It's lovely. I like it.
And it's not even blue, Emma.
I do like some things that aren't blue. Like my cardigan's a moss colour. So, although blue is my first love.
Yeah, Phil, if you're watching, you're about 6 on the list. Just to let you know.
Although he does have blue eyes.
Okay. Are you sure about that? Can you remember that?
Only because I know that he's got the same eyes as Caitlin.
Well, not literally, but
Well, yeah.
That would be a bit weird.
That would be very weird.
Yeah, Dad's just taking them abroad. You can have them back later. So, your latest release is the Cable Dials Throw. Prior to that, how many years ago was it? Was it 2016 you did the textured landscape throw? What possessed you? Because obviously it's a massive project. It's a big undertaking for anybody to plan and conceptualise and to be able to see it in their own mind before you even pick up a set of needles. What was it that made you think, yes?
Well, the first one I did was the sort of one that led to my textured landscape, which I have here.
Oh.
I made it before I was designing, and basically I just had this bag full of oddballs of Aran weight, creams and browns and fawns, and the colours just all went together. But I had this enormous bag of it, and I was feeling a bit, oh my God, what the hell am I going to do with all these odd balls of wool? And I just bought myself a couple of stitch dictionaries, including the Harmony Guide to Aran stitches, which is this one here, and a couple of others. And I just thought, I'm just going to cast on some stitches, and I'm just going to work my way through all the little stitch patterns in that book that I think I look quite nice and interesting, and just randomly knit until I think, well, I want, I've had enough of that pattern. I'm going to change and do another pattern and change colour. So the original blanket I did had all these really odd bits where I'd sort of split into two smaller columns within a block, and then thought, that one finishes like a bit too soon, so I'll just do some garter stitch until I get it to the right size. So I had all these random little bits of odd colours just to make it the right size in places, and I finished it and I was happy with it, and I put my project up on Ravelry, and I had all these people go, oh my God, are you going to publish that? And I was thinking, I can't publish this. It's just random bits of colour here, there and everywhere, and it wasn't really a proper design per se. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, if I put some effort in and actually sit down, I can use that as a good basis to do a proper blanket design, which I think that's what got me started on it. But it was a lot more work than I had first anticipated, to actually get the cables to flow naturally from one block to another, rather than looking like, oh, right, she's just got bored of this, stopped and gone on to another design. So trying to actually get it to look as if it was all, and actually get it to flow, was quite, took a lot of effort. And what I really did was I started with one strip in the middle, and then sort of from that, I used that as a basis to work out, what am I going to put aside to it? How big do the blocks need to be to make the colours sit nicely together? And then once I actually did a framework, I then decided which cables to put within those blocks and tweak it a little bit if necessary. But that's how the first one came about.
Oh, yeah. It's gorgeous, that one.
So I do, that was probably my first love, that one. That has pride of place on the sofa in the other room. So.
Not surprising.
Oh, we appear to have a visitor.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Gilly. Yeah, we don't
come to visit. What's she doing?
He's gorgeous.
Just come in for his walk.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah, he won't go on the Zoom though, will he? Even though
No,
he's
he
offered
won't.
to miss it. It's just no. I'm not talking to him.
You've got to go and lie down now, sunshine.
He knows that we're all doggy people. That's what it is.
There's cats on Zoom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, that'll be why. So that was your first one, and then what happened after that?
Well, I kept thinking that I had so much fun designing the first one that I ought to have another go. And then I can't remember, I think I was designing a shawl, and I discovered closed cables. And at that point, I thought a whole new world has opened up with closed cables. To do a similar design, but one where I don't need to actually worry about the cables flowing into each other. I could just do standalone cable patterns within the blocks.
Yeah.
And having the experience of doing the other design, I knew roughly where to start. So again, I started with the middle strip.
Yeah.
And then just drew out a basic grid of, again, 5 strips, and then started playing with colours and filled in the colours, and then worked out how many rows I needed to fit a closed cable pattern into each block to sort of get it all to fit nicely together. Then lots again of scouring of stitch dictionaries, and there's a few where I couldn't find a design or a cable that I liked to fit in a particular size block, so I just went on to Stitch Mastery and doodled madly. some quite crazy designs, some of them didn't work and some needed a bit of tweaking. But actually getting the closed cables to fit in the blocks was a different set of problems to the first blanket, because I had to convert cable patterns that weren't closed cables to become closed cables. And to get them to be flat, I had to work out how much allowance I had to make for the cable against the background to make all of the blocks within a strip approximately the same width. So you didn't end up with a strip that went sort of boom. So that involved a lot of knitting and re-knitting, because when you're doing something that's approximately like 4 stitches to an inch, being a couple of stitches out makes quite a bit of difference, half an inch. So there was a lot of, that didn't quite work. How do I fit an extra couple of stitches into this cable? At what point can I throw them in to get it to be, a nice straight line down the cable? So, but on the whole, I think most of them I could sort of get a very good rough estimate for the first knitting, and really only had to tweak by 1 or 2 stitches here and there to do it. But yes, I did have fun on some of the ones that I designed myself, and they vary from, let's see which ones. So I think the blue corner one.
That's not blue.
Here was, sorry, the turquoise corner one that I did here. Where's the camera? I'm going in the wrong direction here. That was one of my own sort of playing about on Stitch Mastery.
Would it be better if we put you on sort of main layout?
Yeah, go for that.
I think this is fine.
Because then you've got the room to show it.
Yeah, because it's beautiful. We want to see it.
I'm trying to find the ones that I sort of designed myself.
Well, technically, you designed them all yourself because you made them.
Well, I did.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, exactly.
This one, the star.
Oh yeah.
That one I really liked because it looks so simple. It's such a clean cable.
But it's not though.
And it's not blue. No, it's not blue.
Is it not blue? Because it looks blue.
It's not blue, no.
I think that's purple.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Whatever it is, it's beautiful.
So I think this one was my starting one, which was the cable I did on the shawl.
All right.
Amended a little bit. I had to make it slightly wider and slightly taller, but that was just a matter of just adding in a few extra rows from the original one.
That's stunning, that one.
But that was my the middle section. I don't know why I always start in the middle.
Carol's in the house. She said that's absolutely beautiful, Helen. Have you got a drink, Carol?
So is that, did you say this was your new pattern that you're showing us now, or is that one before it?
No, this is the new one. This is the closed cable.
Right.
So if you see, they just start out of nothing and end out of nothing. Yeah. So they're not coming up from a rib or anything. So that was a fun bit I had.
That is just stunning. And then you've got the borders on it as well, which took some thinking about.
Yeah, that was a matter of trying to get a design that would actually have the right number of rows to match the whole thing.
Side, yeah.
So they were quite fun. I'm trying to think which other ones. A lot of them I would take a stitch pattern as a starting point and just play with it a bit
Yeah.
to get it to actually get to the size I need it to be. So having a starting point cable was quite helpful.
Yeah.
And others I just took a bit out of a cable. I thought, oh, I like the middle of that cable. I'll just pull that out to be a cable in its own right. So, and I just played sort of these two were basically the same, came from the same cable block, but one I crossed and one I actually put a bit in the middle of it.
It's like a diamond, isn't it, in the middle?
So yeah, it really was just fun and playing, and that's what I really like about cables. I've got an infinite number of things you can do with them, and just a small change will make something look quite different.
Yes.
Yeah.
In terms of the border, is that knitted on or is that knitted separately and then seamed on?
It was knitted separately and seamed, because I thought, well, you're seaming the blocks anyway, so if you like the blanket, you're not going to be squeamish about seaming.
No.
Well, I think the other thing as well is if your gauges differed ever so slightly and it's half an inch longer or something than it needs to be, you can correct that with seaming, can't you?
Yes, you can just sort of mattress stitch a couple of stitches here and there to actually pull that up.
So that everything lines up to exactly where you want. You've got that flexibility, haven't you? So
and
what
it's easy.
yarn did you use, Helen?
This was Drops Alaska. It was all Drops Alaska. I think the first one I used sort of a couple of different brands. The sort of the grey and cream first one. But I decided to just use one brand here because that would make sure that your gauge is basically the same throughout. And everything was worked out.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's gorgeous.
Well, Carol says she's got a cup of tea and Rita says, Helen, it's a treat to see those blocks close up. Everyone's loving it.
I mean, the amount of brain power that's gone into those.
It's just a shame when you ordered the yarn, Helen, that you couldn't get any blues.
What a shame.
Look, lovely, wouldn't it? That would have been really nice.
It would, yeah. The only thing I would say when I got it, I thought I liked all of the colours together. And then in reality, I found I didn't really like the pinky colour next to the turquoise.
Right.
They were just not quite right. So my original design, again, I started having to change how I'd done the colours to minimise the number of times I had the pink next to the turquoise. And I think I got it down in the end to just having this one bit where there's a slight crossover.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the only point, I think, where they're next to each other.
Yeah. I think it doesn't look bad. It's obviously just your personal preference, isn't it?
Yes. But I didn't like it when I had sort of a pink block immediately following a turquoise block, so it's a lot larger areas together. I think that seemed to clash more to my eye. But luckily, I did it with 6 colours, so I had plenty of chances just to move a block up or down.
Yeah.
To correct that.
And I assume that you snuggle in it.
I haven't snuggled in it yet, but I think I will be as the weather gets colder.
It looks like
Carol's
the perfect
asking how big is the finished blanket, Helen?
I think it finished off, it's 62 inches wide and 42 inches high. So approximately sort of 2 by 3. But within the blanket yourself, you don't have to make all of the strips. So if you wanted it slightly smaller, you could just leave a strip out.
Right.
And within the block itself, there are like sub-rectangles. So you could just do a subset of the whole blanket to make something smaller. But you would need to then work out what adjustments you would need to do for the borders, because obviously if you don't make it as high, you need to adjust the border.
Makes sense. So did you have to be really, really, really good at maths to do that when you were planning it all out?
I actually include the layout in the pattern, and as I was doing it, I was writing out the number of rows and double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking every time that the number of rows was correct. So where I was hoping the blocks lined up, that they actually did, because that could have been a bit of a panic moment.
Did you have lots of hurrah moments when it did what you wanted it to?
I think a few of the blocks came out, and I was really, really pleased at how they worked out. So there were a few very happy moments. I think the longest block was, as I said, the first one that I showed you, the turquoise corner one. So that took me, I think, about a day fiddling around, sort of designing it, and then I had to knit it sort of like 3 or 4 times before I got the stitch counts correct, that I was happy with it. And I think the first design I didn't like a bit of it. I didn't like the bottom of the cable. So, and a lot of these things you can't tell until you've actually knitted them and look at them critically and go, not so happy with that, but it would look fine if I sort of didn't do that bit or something. So.
Yeah, I get that. It's gorgeous. It's an heirloom piece, really, isn't it? It's the sort of blanket that people are going to keep for generations.
I said, I just hope people enjoy making it. I try to make it fun, so there's no, you don't really get a chance to get bored with it.
Because you've done all the hard bits.
And, you know, you can do a pattern, sort of do a block, and if you're not really enjoying that block, once it's finished, you never have to knit that block again.
Woohoo! Yay!
I think we've all made something like that, where afterwards you're just like, oh, thank goodness for that. You so relieved it. So, but even if you love the finished item, you sort of look back on it and think, oh, that was a slog. And yet there are other things that you just breeze through, aren't there? I suppose there'll be different elements as you go through, and every block's a different experience. So how do you think the yarn performs? Is the earlier blanket, is that one the same yarn? Or?
The earlier one was mainly, it was Wendy Aaron, which you can't get anymore. So
what's Drops Alaska then?
It's 100% wool.
Okay.
And it's quite a thick wool, so it's
it's hand wash, isn't it?
Yes.
So I mean, why I've not bought
it. I've never used it, so that's why I ask.
But it's amazingly good value. So if you're going to have a blanket that you're not expecting to get, you know, filthy dirty, that's going to need a lot of washing, it's amazingly good value. So it's something like £1.80 per ball, 50 grams. So for wool, it's excellent value. The only thing I would say about it that others have an advantage over is the fact it only comes in 50-gram balls, and it would be much nicer if it came in hundreds. Because quite a lot of my blocks I needed to break into a second ball, which meant more ends.
Yeah, that would be quite nice, wouldn't it?
It would be great.
Sometimes it's a necessary evil, though, isn't it? And the results that you got from the yarn are absolutely amazing.
Beautiful.
So I've got a sweater in test at the moment. So can you give us a little twirl with the one that you're wearing for anybody who wasn't here at the beginning?
Put it down up. Right. So it's my
I love those pockets.
I've got to show the wheat motifs on the pockets that matched the yoke.
Oh, it's fab. And what is that? Your cuffs? Is that 1 by 1 or is that 2 by 2?
It's 1 by 2, but it is twisted.
Oh. Yes. Nice twisted one. I love it. And did you knit those sleeves in the round?
She's desperately trying to remember. Yes, because it's a yoked one. So
yeah, gorgeous.
Yes, there is absolutely no seaming on this whatsoever, because even the neck was done. It was you start at the neckband and then just keep going down, because I wanted to ensure that the pattern went directly sort of down, right down the whole of the yoke. So
we've got some comments on your sweater, Helen. Jackie's saying pockets. Carol's saying, ooh, pockets. Jackie says it's a lovely sweater. So yeah, pockets is.
Yeah.
Pockets seem to be really popular.
Pockets are brilliant.
Well, I think when I first thought of the design, I was actually going to put the wheat things all the way around the bottom again, and I've decided that to actually get it to stand out, it had to be on reverse stocking stitch, and I thought it wouldn't look right. So the pockets were a sort of design feature halfway through actually doing the sweater.
They work.
So kind of an afterthought pocket, or
no, they are actually they are set in pockets, worked on the way down, but I got to the point where I would sort of have to decide what to do, and I just decided pockets were the thing to do.
They're great. Well,
and, you know, we can put our women need the vote leaflets in them, which is why we have our pockets. So you know,
well, you could put your knitting in for walking around for portable knitting.
Or your jolly exciting Chinese mask that I was showing yesterday in Zoom to keep the poisons out.
Oh yes,
that sounds interesting.
I was reading the description on the back of the packaging of the mask I bought at the chemist, and it's obviously been translated directly from Chinese with no thought to the actual context of what it was saying. So it's a bit of gobbledygook.
Love it.
So, carry this product. Please divide the opposite side. Do not tax between mouth and nose will be detrimental to health. Wash the poison once a day. Wash it with warm water first, then bot and hot to dry.
Wash the poison. So
I'm assuming it's a dust mask, and they're using poison to mean the dust that you might have caught in the mask.
I'm thinking, because I've been reading some crime novels recently, I'm thinking that they're going to put a little chloroform filled pocket inside the front of the mask and put it on someone's face and drug them. That's what it is.
Yeah, you've definitely been reading too much. So your sweater is in test at the moment. When are you planning to release that one, Helen? Is it coming out during the gift along?
It probably won't, because I need to actually let Miss Babs know, because they like to have a bit of notice just in case somebody wants to make it in the same yarn. But I put the deadline for just doing the yoke was like 6th of December, and then I've said, after that you can have another month to finish the whole thing if you want to finish the whole thing. So, and so far, I mean, it's a big thing to knit to try to push through quickly.
How long did it take you to do your one then? Are you a monogamous knitter, or did you have other things on the go at the same time?
This probably took me longer than it should have, because I put it aside and and made the blanket.
Right, yeah. Put a blanket in.
So I just had a little bit of a three month detour in the middle.
Side project.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a stunning side project. So
you've got other patterns coming out though, haven't you? Soon. What else is coming out soon? Because you're re-knitting a few things.
The hat and mittens, which are also in test at the moment.
The leopard.
Are those the zebra ones? Oh, are they leopard?
Yeah, Loraine keeps calling it leopard. It's a zebra.
It's a zebra. Sorry, I'm obviously more of a predator. What can I say? Emma's just the prey.
You're a cougar.
Yeah.
God, I wish I got the chance.
No. Yeah, I think I've seen. Is that the hat that Loraine tested for you?
No, that was the Bella Beanie.
Oh, right. That's two different hats.
Yes.
Have we got them?
I'll have to go and find the.
I haven't
brought those through here.
No worries.
I've got a sort of version of the black and white original one.
All right. Hence why it's called a zebra.
Hence why it was called a zebra.
I love that. That doesn't look like leopards to me, Loraine.
No.
It's not moving fast enough. If you throw it.
That's true. That is true.
It's all perspective.
Exactly.
So when do they come out testing? Is that next couple of weeks? Are they going to appear during the gal?
I'm hoping to publish the hat before the gal, and the mittens will probably be during it, with any luck. So I've put the test completion date within the gal, so yeah, we shall see.
Well, the new releases thread always gets a good amount of traffic, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you know what we knitters and crocheters are like? We like shiny new things, don't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What can I latch onto next? Actually, I was just looking. I'm wearing my zebra top.
Ooh.
Coincidental.
Do you want us to change the layout back?
Yeah. So we can all see Emma's top.
I should have the hat. Can you see my zebras?
Woohoo!
See? That's how I recognise.
Yes, I could definitely need that for some photos, won't I?
Yeah.
That'd be definitely good. So, are we all clearing our needles off, ready for the gift along? Have we got any gift knitting planned?
I'm gonna make more socks.
Show. So
that's,
I love that.
That's, I think it's 6 or 8 ply. Anyway, 150 grams, and that way I thought I might actually make Paul some socks out of thicker yarn.
Your husband.
So that will be my next project, because I might be able to get those done before the gift along starts. Because I'm just going to do vanilla socks for him, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, the yarn doesn't work, doesn't it? Doesn't need fancy cables or anything like that. They're going under trouser legs.
No.
Exactly.
Yep. Just getting him to wear something that isn't grey is probably going to be quite a feat.
Yeah, grey and black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping to finish this. I'm nearly finished my second sleeve now.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just the button bands, and that's it. And I don't think I'll start anything new, she says.
Well, I finished my test for Kate yesterday, so I got that over there on the sock.
All the triangles. Yeah, let's have a look at that.
Oh, those socks were gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love that mug, Loraine.
So,
oh, wow.
It's shaped, but don't.
It is blue, but as I said to Kate, I'm going to now, I haven't cast off.
Yeah.
Because my gauge was off. So I'm now going to rip it back out and do a pair using the smaller size.
Right.
Because I think she had written it with wrap and turn, and that was just doing my head in, the amount of wrap and turns to do the shaping. So I did it as twin stitches.
With the
every diamond and triangle, you're wrapping sort of every row, you'll wrap as you go up and down the edges. So, and it was driving me potty, so I changed to start doing it as twin stitches, and the twin stitches I think have changed the gauge, so you've got like 8 twin stitches on every row, and I think that's essentially added an inch to the circumference of the sock.
Right, okay.
I've never done. Carol says that they're not blue, Emma. It's your
They are blue. I mean,
it's grey. Look, it's got grey. You can see. It's definitely grey.
Just because
I'm trying to work out where this direction. It's grey. It's grey.
I thought you were all my friends. If you were my real friends, you wouldn't lie to me.
It's your screen, Emma. Nita says, I didn't plan very well. Finished my project yesterday, the socks, and now have to hope the project I started yesterday can be finished before the gal.
Oh, what did you start yesterday then?
What have you cast on, Nita? Or is it is it a hooking or a knitting? What?
She's telling us half a story. It's like a teaser, isn't it? Do we have to wait for the next episode to find out what she actually cast on?
Oh, that's good. So future plans, Helen, what's the next blanket going to be?
I think that could be a while down the line yet.
You don't fancy another one just yet, then?
I have no plans for any designs at the moment. So I think once I get my hats and socks and, or should I say socks, hats and mittens done, I'm going to have to just start pondering what to do next. But I'm going to have a month off for the gal. So I said I'll be making Paul's socks. I'll be knitting the cabled, your cabled socks from Lorraine's pattern. And I will probably be redoing my diamond socks in a smaller size. But if I plan it right, I will start with Lorraine's for the gift along as my first gift along project. Then hopefully Kate will actually then publish her diamond socks, at which point I will do Kate's diamond socks as a gift along project.
Right. I want to throw something out there to you, Helen, right? Now, this is just an idea, and I don't, you know, you can disregard, you might even laugh, but I'm seeing in your future a blanket. However, instead of cables, I could see each one with a different Christmas motif.
I'm not a colour work girl.
Doesn't have to be colour work. You could do Santa in reverse stitching.
I think, I don't know. I think that's Emma's own idea, so Emma should do it.
No. I'm not the big blanket design lady, you know. But I just throw that out there for you for next year.
I think there's a lot more fun to be had with cables, and I think textures as well. It isn't just cables, is it? Sometimes it's about the texture that you get with the stitch, or with adding bobbles or daft stuff like that.
Or how about cables that look like animals, like that owl? So you could do each.
I think the owl's been done to death.
Yeah, but
I could do it just especially for Lorraine. I could do cables that look like gnomes.
Oh, she'd love that.
I love them. Yeah.
And leopards. You could do cables that look like leopard spots.
You could do leopard spots. Yeah, gnomes. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, funny that.
You've already given me a pattern name now, haven't you?
No,
thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, so Nita's shared with us what she's cast on, and Carol's finishing the test knit for Lorraine now that she's got all the charts that I've got. That's perfect.
Yeah, that was quite amusing.
I'll just quickly share screen so you can relax for a second. Where is it?
Don't know.
Timberline.
Oh, I love it.
I think that's super cute.
That is super, super cute. I love that. That baby doesn't look too impressed, mind.
Well, somebody's probably wandered off with his little bar of chocolate.
I like that. That's really nice.
It is sweet, isn't it?
Who are we knitting this for then, Nita?
This is going to be for somebody under 2 years old. That's as clear as I could be. I think. And we should show these while we're on, because we've been talking about them.
What have we been talking about? Oh, yeah.
Double dials throw.
It's just stunning.
So look at that turquoise. I really like the way that you've been so careful to keep it. Is it a lilac-y sort of mauvey colour?
It's sort of like, it's more like a pinky mauve. So the pink and the sort of turquoise, to my eye, don't really...
Yeah, the turquoise is verging on the warm, isn't it? And all the other colours are cool. I think that might be that the mauve is just slightly too cool or too ashy. But I love the combination together. I think it's fabulous.
Well, you know, it can come and sit in my front room anytime. It's more than welcome.
It's a shame it wouldn't go with anything because it's not blue.
All right.
You see those little close-ups.
But you see how many corners I've got where I've got a pink going onto a corner with a turquoise, because there was a lot of having to rapidly rearrange things that I decided I didn't like.
Oh, I love that.
And also I didn't want anything dark blue on the edge of either of the two outer strips, because I didn't want the same colour as the border next to.
Yeah.
So that limited what I could do there. So.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Wow. I'm lost for words. It's just stunning. Have we got the other one there, Lorraine? I don't think I've ever seen the other one.
Just a sec. Let me stop sharing that one because it makes me go to a different window. Textured landscape, isn't it? There we go.
Oh, I can see why everyone was messaging you. That is just stunning.
Beautiful, isn't it?
And you've got a couple of blocks there where the pattern's all over as well, haven't you? Which is just gorgeous.
I said I was trying to actually ensure that the patterns flowed as much as they could into the next one.
Yeah. Very clever.
That's quite challenging, isn't it? To be able to get that to work as well, and it does. It's just stunning.
That is stunning.
It's beautiful. What does everybody else think? Oh, Nita says that the little baby sweater is one to go in the gift stash.
All right.
Carol says it's really cute.
It is cute. So are both blankets roughly the same size?
Similar sizes. I can't remember the exact size of that, but they're of the same sort of order of size.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a more complex cable border, hasn't it?
It has.
That's the one that sort of a lot of people gave up living for that border, which is why I only did 2 borders on the new one, because I think a few people just
Okay. You've got to be quite dedicated, haven't you? But I think if you did it, you'd be super proud of yourself. I think
it's well worth the effort. Definitely.
So back to us again.
All you need is some decent TV and you'll be fine.
Oh, Jackie's saying they're beautiful blankets. I mean,
They
it's
are.
mind-boggling as to how anybody even comes up with the concept, let alone map it
I
all
know.
out and arrange the colours, the blocks, and everything else. I'm just in awe, Helen, of your mad skills.
Mad
Well, it
skills.
just started really with office drawer, draw a block, start
Yeah.
doing a grid, get your colours, start throwing colours on, and then work out what to put in them.
So, do you tend to kind of work out how you're going to construct something and the pattern before you start to knit? Do you swatch? What's your process?
Well, I said with that blanket, I just did the first block, and then everything had to basically work to the gauge of the first block I did. So that, the first block basically was my swatch, and then, okay, that's that gauge, that's the gauge of the stocking stitch bit, so work from that. But I think there's a couple of concepts that were quite useful and interesting to me, and one is the Nora Gorn. Is it Nora Gorn? Can't remember how you pronounce it. But she's got the concept of the stocking stitch equivalent.
Yeah.
So in hers, she'll give you a cable and she'll say what the stocking stitch equivalent is. And that was a good starting point for me to decide sort of how many extra stitches I needed to add in for them. So I think I'd always been aware of that concept, but it never had a name before. You always know if you're doing cables, they're greedy, they need more yarn, you need to give an allowance, but she's actually given it a name, which sort of makes you focus much more on that idea.
So have we got any questions for Helen? Is there anything anybody would like to ask? Obviously the question you can't ask is will she knit one for you, because that's going to be no. Minimum price there is going to be about £5,000.
Easy. Yeah. Will you make one for 20 quid?
Yeah, you could sell those.
Yeah, I could sell them for 20 quid. Yeah.
Do you not want to just make those blankets over and over and over and over again for the rest of your life?
I think the only time I might make one would be possibly maybe sort of to auction it for a charity or something. I think that's the only time I make another one, other than for myself.
But not for your sanity if you're doing that. My goodness. I don't think people have a concept, do they, when they ask you to knit something, or when they say, oh, that is gorgeous, you could sell those. Yeah, I could, but not for what they're worth.
I suppose it depends who your market is. My cousin sells cakes and cupcakes and really fancy stuff, baking ones. But they're in Cheshire, and their customer base is the soccer wives and girlfriends. And
there we go.
Price orientated. It's about getting what I want because I want it right now, and that's the more important thing. So I think somebody like that with that kind of customer base absolutely could make the right kind of money from it. She did sell one of my crochet blankets. Probably about 60 to 70 hours of work, and she sold it for about £350 or something for me. But it's still not anywhere close to what it should be. It was handy at the time you paid a bill on the car or something.
Yeah.
I wasn't really that enamoured with the blanket when I finished it. It was one of those projects where you get to the end of it and think, why did I start this?
I feel like that most days.
Well, I loved the colours at the beginning, but then I didn't love them at the end. And I don't know what possessed me, really. It is what it is.
And sometimes you can be reminded of bad memories of things that have been happening while you were knitting something, can't you? And you just don't want it in your house.
I was occasional times where I've really hated the yarn on something that I've done, but I've liked the end result.
Right.
So over time, I've forgiven it. So sometimes it has to go into a box for a few months
to think about what it's been doing.
Yeah, I've got a crochet blanket upstairs that was just made with odd balls of shades. I think it was just pinks, whites and blues and whatever, and you name it, it's in it. It's got mixed fibres, it's got fun fur, it's got you name it. All the stuff you couldn't think what else to do. And at the end, this crochet blanket, I love it, absolutely love it. It's basically you do a row in one colour, have a tassel left at the end, no ends to weave in, you just leave the ends dangling as a tassel either side. Okay, right, do another row. What colour do I want to do next? And you can keep adding to it. I haven't. It's basically a blanket that you could just keep adding to forever and ever because there's like no borders. So at some point, if I end up with a load more oddballs of pinks and whites and blues, I could just keep adding more rows to it if I fancied it.
That sounds brilliant. I might start one.
It was a free pattern on Ravelry. I can't remember what it was, but I'll let you know. And it was really simple because I'm not really a crocheter. And this was just so simple that once you'd actually got your first few rows done that set the size, you just go for it.
I like it. I like it.
My headset's falling off the back of my head for some reason.
It's because your head's not big enough, Loraine.
There would be people that would argue that point. I was going to ask Helen, what did you think of the Miss Babs yarn? Because it's not one that I've ever tried.
It is really nice. So I think people rave about it, and I think it is a really nice yarn. And I don't think it's not one of the really, really expensive ones because the initial outlay is quite a lot because they come in like 250 gram balls or whatever. So it might sound a lot, but you're getting like, I don't know, 8 ounces or whatever per ball. So I've used it for this sweater, and I think I used more of a worsted or Aran weight for a shawl that got published for. And I also used it for my honeysuckle shawl, was a Miss Babs yarn. Right. And they are lovely yarns.
Can I ask roughly how many balls for a sweater, sort of your size, a size 8?
I've got a size 8.
Don't you look at on our camera? So.
I broke into a third ball for this.
Wow. Right, that's not actually bad, is it?
And I think they were $48 a ball if you bought it.
Did you tell us what fibre? Did you tell us what fibre?
I think it's merino. Yes, I don't think I've got the label lying around anymore. I think it's probably made it into the recycling by now.
I hang on to balls. I don't know what reason.
Well, I keep finding ball bands everywhere I go. Always thrown out. I think I used 32 balls of this in the blanket. Wow. I just keep finding.
I don't know why, but I find it really difficult to throw them away. I always think I might need it for something.
Possibly for some sort of, if you've got some left over that you might want to use for something else.
I could find about 20 or 30 in this room, I think.
Is it so that you can pick it up and go, what the hell am I keeping this for? And then
honestly,
is it just that periodically you can do that? Is that it?
Or I can know how much wool I've used in my lifetime.
Well, Ravelry kind of tells you that.
Yeah, but this is tangible.
Split in.
It's mental. So yeah.
So I think the two smallest sizes of this were two balls, and you could possibly get away with two balls for the third size as well. Because you wouldn't need to do the pocket linings in it. So if you were getting to the point where it was a bit iffy, you can always do the pocket linings in a different yarn.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Or even a contrast.
Yeah.
Make it a feature.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Right. Have you warmed up your vocal cords now for the outro song, Helen?
Yeah, I have, because Arthur's down here and he's,
She wasn't
ready.
listening, was she? It's me going, la, 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 la.
Yeah. Oh, are you joining in with me? Oh,
yeah, a duet.
So Carol is saying that she used 1.8 skeins of Miss Babs Yarter for a cardigan, and it's 560 yards per skein.
Pretty decent. I think Carol would like to hear a duet between me and Helen.
I'm sure she would. I bet she's just itching to go. She's probably messaging me as we speak.
Yeah. I think we need.
Are you going to count us in, Emma?
Are we doing a warm up first? Come on.
Yeah, I've learnt the warm up.
Oh, Arthur's crying. He doesn't like that. Sorry. Right. We'll count it. Right. 5, 4, 3, 2.